Hi friends, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another monthly wrap up. I can't believe it's the end of January already. This month has brought us a lot. We got Scream and I got to talk to Rory Culkin, which is probably my highlight of 2022 even though it's only January. If you do want to see that video, check it out. It's in the description down below. I'm so happy and I'm so thrilled reading all of your comments that you were just as excited as I was, so thank you for that. Today we're going to do things back to front because I know a lot of people want me to talk about Yellow Jacket. So I'm going to talk about the TV shows I watched first, but before we get into it, I want to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN service which stands for Virtual Private Network. I've been using Surfshark for 2 years now out of my own pocket, and there's a couple of things I absolutely love about it. Number one, I love that you can use it on multiple devices. So not only do I have it on my laptop, on my TV, my smart TV, I also can have it on my phone on the go. Not only does it encrypt all of your data and protect your identity online, it also unlocks geo-blocked content, so I can get access to films and TV shows otherwise I wouldn't be able to. I can rent them through different platforms that I usually don't have access to. I absolutely love it. It's an essential tool for me. Another thing I love about Surfshark is its customer service. You're talking to a real person. Any issues or queries you have, you can contact them and they're just really good at getting back to you, which is really rare for an online service these days. Surfshark have a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee. So if you do want to sign up and just try it out, you can for 30 days. And if you do change your mind, you can get your money back, no questions asked. If you are going to sign up for Surfshark, I highly recommend using my code SPOOKY or the link down in the description and you get 83% off and 3 months extra for free. Thank you so much to Surfshark for supporting creators like me, and let's get into the video, starting with TV shows. Since I've already teased Yellow Jackets, let's just get into it. I watched Yellow Jackets actually across maybe 3 or 4 days. I wanted to wait until it was all out and I had so many comments from you guys from the last couple of months recommending it to me. But I was really honestly just waiting for it to come out because I like to binge things and I loved this TV show. I thought it was really interesting. It was very different to what I expected. So Yellow Jackets takes part in the past and the present. It's like a now and then situation, but horror thriller. Funny because they both star Christina Ricci. It follows a school soccer team who gets stranded together in the past, which is set in the 90s, and then it goes into the future day back and forth explaining the situation and what happened to them when they got stranded. When people described the show to me, they described it with a couple of words that I will not use because I felt like although they went hardcore spoilers, it kind of gave away some of the mystery, and the whole show is about mystery. The cast is incredible and the past is set in the 90s, so it has a lot of really great 90s nostalgia. The soundtrack is amazing. At one point they play Hole. I absolutely love the vibe of the past, but what I really was interested about was all of the different aspects. This is not like, obviously it's not a linear show, but there's just so many different things going on, and it's really something you can sink your teeth in, and there's a lot to talk about in this show. If you think you know what's going on, I promise you, you don't, and I really loved that aspect where it wasn't really like you were trying to predict what happens. You were just kind of, your mouth was dropping every 5 seconds with different twists and turns. And of course, I've already mentioned, I mean, the whole cast is great, but Christina Ricci, her character is so good. I love her. I think she's everyone's favorite and she's not meant to be, which is really funny. But it's just a really stylish, slick, and very eventful show. I don't want to ruin anything to do with it, but definitely check it out. It gets my tick of approval. I really enjoyed watching it and I can't wait. I'm sure it got renewed already for season 2, but I cannot wait. I thought it was fantastic. So thank you for all of your recommendations. I was definitely going to watch it anyway, but I really did enjoy it, and it was something very different, I felt like, because I've been seeing so many TV shows, horror thriller TV shows recently, and I felt like this one wasn't scared to really give you enough lore and all of these different avenues you could like think about. It wasn't afraid to get like messy and gritty and complicated, and I think being all about these women, well, I mean there's men in there too, but women in this team, it was really interesting to see all of their different personalities, and I really liked the array of different characters. Okay, speaking of messy, I finally finished Search Party. If you have not heard me talk about Search Party, I think I've talked about every single season through the last 6 years. I've been doing this my channel for 7 years now, and I've been watching Search Party for nearly all of it. Search Party is one of the best shows. It's so good. It's about a bunch of 20-year-old somethings who are very narcissistic, and they get wrapped up in this murder mystery in season 1. It is fantastic. It is comedy, satire, but very dark, and it gets so dark as it goes on. Every single season is completely different and tackles like a different kind of feel, but also it's situated in a different location in a way. It's hard to say without giving anything away, but they're not all, you know, them in their house or them doing something a certain way. You really explore this strange world with them, and it's absolutely fantastic. If you have not checked it out, just check out season 1 and see what you think. One of the good things about Search Party is all of the episodes are 30 minutes and under, so it does not take long for you to get hooked, and that just means if you do the 3-episode test, which is something I always abide by, watching 3 episodes of something to realize if you like it or don't like it. I never watch 1 episode and go, not for me. I try and get through to 3, but it makes it really easy to do that. So highly recommend at least giving it the 3-episode try. You'll know really quickly if the comedy is for you, but yeah, definitely check it out. Season 5, I did not think it was going to go where it went, but it did, and I was really blown away. Very poetic, great ending, but very surprising along the way, all of the different avenues it took. As I said, every season is set in a different location or tackles kind of like a different theme, and this one I was really not expecting. So if you want the unexpected and you haven't checked out season 5, I'm warning you, it's very different, but in the end, it kind of all like makes sense, which I love. I watched a lot of TV this month. I watched Archive 81 and I did a whole review on that. Really enjoyed that series. It's on Netflix now, utterly bingeable. If you're into dark kind of fantasy that really blurs the lines between fact and fiction, I would recommend that. But again, check out my review on it. It's spoiler free if you want to see if it's worth your time. But the aesthetics on that just kind of blew me away. And I've been thinking about it ever since. I really hope they renew that for season 2 as well. Okay, we're gonna get into some shameful stuff. I watched Floribama. I joked about this because I got Paramount Plus to watch Yellow Jackets because that's how it's shown in Australia. That's the only avenue you can watch it on. And when I was looking around, I was like, what is on here? And if you follow me on Instagram, which is just Spookyastronauts, you would have seen me joking around about how there was nothing on there. Then I found Floribama, and people probably thought I was joking about watching it, and I watched every single season. Shameful. I don't know where I find the time to do that. Floribama is, you know, just like Jersey Shore, but it's based in Florida, Alabama, the coastline. It's called Floribama Shore, by the way. And it's bad reality TV at its best. And I mean, the culture shock for me watching this kind of stuff is really interesting. That's why I get into it, and then I fall in love with the characters. So yeah, I love Cody and Amy, if anyone's asking. No one asked. But yeah, that's something that happened to me. It happened to me. I didn't do it. It happened to me. And then the last thing I watched on Netflix is True Story. This is Kevin Hart, which obviously bit controversial, and I wasn't sure about this, but it was so highly rated and my partner was gonna watch it, so we watched it together. It is a fictional story, by the way, and it's very obvious why it's fictional. It is about a stand-up comedian, who is Kevin Hart, who gets wrapped up in this thing that goes horribly wrong, and how he has to make all these decisions, and how it highlights his true character. Sounds very mysterious, being very vague, but it's very dark and twisty, although how do I say this? I thought it was pretty obvious what was going on the whole time. It's a really twisty, interesting show, and I can understand where the idea came from. I think it was okay, but I don't think the end execution had as big of a drop as you expected. But I think other than that, it is still a solid reveal. It just would have been good if the show was condensed a lot. I feel like it really dragged out and it gave people too much time to like kind of clue on what was going on. But yeah, check it out if you're interested in that. I sound very mysterious. But let's talk about movies. Because I watched so much TV this month, I feel like I didn't watch a lot of movies, but you let me know if this is a lot of movies for you. For the first 5 movies, I watched all of the Scream movies in order. Obviously the first 4 were rewatches. I did a ranking video, but also I wanted to watch them all before I saw the new movie. I've done so much Scream content. I know that you guys don't need to hear about that. I've done a ranking. I've done a review of the newer film, which is spoiler free, like a come with me review. I've done a spoiler review, and I interviewed the directors. And then also, if you're on my Patreon, I did a initial reaction, which was a spoiler review. So I kind of, after I saw the movie, I recorded my come with me, and then I came home, got out of the car and started screaming to the camera about what happened. So I've done so much content on Scream, so I'm not going to bore you today, but big fan of the franchise, liked the new one, and thought it was just really interesting seeing everyone's responses. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about it. I feel like I'm a little bit screamed out, but I really enjoyed being part of that. It was really exciting to be part of the community when a new Scream movie came out, because obviously I wasn't last time. So yeah, very exciting. I watched Red Rocket, which this is kind of more my style. I'm a huge Sean Baker fan, and this film, I understand how a lot of people would not like this. If you're watching this video to get recommendations and you don't like the same films as me usually, do not watch this film. But I'm a big fan of Tangerine, Florida Project. Florida Project is one of my favorite films of all time, and Red Rocket is like pretty high up there. I have not stopped thinking about it. The film is so interesting. It's a honey film, which I always talk about honey films. So it's a slice of life film, and it is about this awful guy who goes back to Texas from California, and I don't want to give away too much. It's not like it's spoiler, but it's just really interesting to go in blind and like discover his character along the way. And he's just like a piece of work, and he's just trying to like weasel his way in to building something again, and it just really shows all of his flaws slowly, and it's just a slice of life. Very interesting along the way. We'll have you adding Bye 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 into your Spotify playlist. I definitely have it in there. But if you are into character kind of stories that are raw, slice of life journeys, I do recommend this, especially if you like, I would recommend, if you haven't seen any of Sean Baker's films, watch A Florida Project first, because I think that's more appealing to a broader audience for people to understand his kind of stylization. And if you do love that, then check out Red Rocket. I watched Queen Pins, which is about coupon cutting. I thought this was going to be more exciting than it was. It's based on a true story, I believe, about 2 women who go coupon cutting and then turn into criminals. Yeah, it wasn't that great. I wouldn't recommend it. I watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. Oh my god, I said it right the first time. This is a joy. Thank you to Jackie, who recommended this to me. This is just a funny ass movie. It's just a funny, goofy, completely out there movie about these 2 women who work in, I think they work in a furniture store? Yes. And they go to Florida, and I can't explain everything that happens in this movie. It's insane. But as I say, they go on this holiday, and then there's this villain who's out to kill the world. So as you can see probably by the cover, it's just a fun movie. It's very lighthearted, very silly. It's just like a friendship film that's really fun. Yeah. I've watched some weird movies this month, I feel like, already. I watched The Last Thing Mary Saw. I did a review on this. I watched Violet, which this one was it on Paramount or Stan? I can't remember. But this is an interesting film. It's more of a independent film about a woman and her inner dialogue. The way it's filmed and the structure was what was interesting. And look, a lot of people love this. Look at all these people. This was recommended to me by a few people, actually, kept recommending this to me. And thanks to Rob, who also kind of gave me the push. But I have to say, it wasn't really, I liked the idea and the structure, but after a while, I felt like it was quite slow and it wasn't going very far or very fast. But it is quite a short film. It's about a woman who is just like letting fear hold her back. It's more of an inspiring tale about, really getting in your head and pushing those voices away. So if you want something a little pick-me-up, maybe that one's for you. A lot of people seem to love it. I rewatched Scream. I saw it again at the cinema. I rewatched The Last Thing Mary Saw. The reason I did this is because if you do watch my review, I talk about how I watched it twice to really get their messaging. But also, I watched The Last Thing Mary Saw, and then I watched these other 2 films before I wrote my review. So I wanted like a recap as well, and then I ended up getting more out of it. So yeah, good film. Okay. I'm a little bit worried about talking about these films. So Nocturna. Nocturna is a film that I talked about in my What's Coming to VOD this month video. So Nocturna, there's 2 films. There's the first one, and then there's side B, which is an experimental take on what happens in the first film. The first film is an independent thriller, I would say, about a man living with his wife, and they witness something horrific in their apartment. A lot of people have been talking to me for a long time about this film and really getting me hyped up and excited about it. And when I watched it, I have to say I was really thrown off. I'm gonna be honest. I was thrown off. I didn't really love it. I thought it was made a good short story, and I thought the acting was great. It is very independent in the way it's shot almost like a Lifetime film, and I mean that not in a negative way. I mean that as the way it actually is stylized. It's very like halo effect lighting, and it's just it looks like a soap, you know what I mean, with the stylization, the look of it, the lighting, I guess, more so. But a lot of people really love this film, so I just don't know if it just didn't work for me. It is like set in one location, which I know a lot of people are into those kinds of stories, and it is about this man and his wife, and you know what must be horrific for these older people going through the situation. It's hard for me to recommend this because I did not enjoy it, but it's hard when you see that so many people love it. I can't really say too much more without giving it away. I would say it's very like ghostly and terrifying from their perspective. I don't think that gives away a lot, so don't worry. And then the second one is an experimental look of everything that happens, but through kind of different perspectives. But it's nothing that adds to the story, which I thought it was going to be through one person's perspective and then kind of change for the second part, but it does not do that. It's just that the themes are kind of explored in a more of an experimental and surrealist way. I hope I'm explaining it right. But if you have seen it, please let everyone know what you liked about it in the comments down below, because I would really love for people to get that perspective, because I really don't have it. I felt like it was really slow and dragging, and you kind of, I mean, there is some reveals that were quite surprising. I won't say it's completely predictable, but I think that for a feature film, it didn't really work for me. I watched Underwater. I went and saw this when I went, I love the way I say water. People always comment about my Australian accent. A lot of people think I'm British as well, but the water is pretty funny. So I watched Underwater, and I'd seen this before when it first came out. This is Kristen Stewart, underwater horror movie. It's really brilliant. It's a really brilliant action horror. If you have not seen it, I do recommend. I highly recommend, and I can't believe how many people put this off. I actually watched this as part of a Patreon hangout, and I hadn't realized like a lot of my patrons who came to that hangout had not seen it, so I do recommend it, and a lot of them really enjoyed it. So it's very surprising, very claustrophobic, and has, yeah, some really dark moments. House of Gucci just came out in Australia a couple weeks ago, I guess on this date, and we went and saw it, me and my friend. I don't know what possessed me. I think I kept seeing the trailer and I felt like brainwashed, and yeah, I went and saw it. I didn't know anything about the story, which I thought was fun. It's fun to go into like a true crime. You know, I know it's fictionalized to an extent, but it's fun to go in there and watch these kinds of films. Lady Gaga was amazing. I didn't think Jared Leto was that bad, to be honest. I actually thought he was quite good because his character is meant to be goofy. If you don't know, it's about the Gucci brand, and I mean, it's not really early days. It's about a woman who marries in Lady Gaga, and all of the rivalry, passion, and I guess drama between them all. It's a very funny film, and it's kind of, I think that I don't think it's as bad as people said it was. I thought it was okay. Interesting being directed by Ridley Scott, which is why everyone was saying it was a bomb, but I think that people just think that's a bomb for him. But I don't think it wasn't horrible. Let's see what everyone else thinks. Yeah, look, people like it. People like it. If you're going to the cinema to watch a movie about the Gucci brand and the family that you know has this like true crime case wrapped up in them, it's kind of exactly what you expect. Yeah. It's cinematic for sure. Lady Gaga is so good in it. I watched Unforgivable, The Unforgivable. This is a film I do want to recommend to you. This is on Netflix. I bawled my eyes out. Sandra Bullock. I tell you, you are not ready. You are not ready. So she has committed this unforgivable crime and she is released from prison, and it's her getting her life back together, but also trying to chase her past to right a wrong. And oh my God, this movie got me, and I was not ready. I was not ready for the shift in it, and when it shifted, I like lost my mind. I watched this with my partner. I believe he even had a tear. It was so emotional and so heavy. I was not expecting it to be this heavy. Highly recommend. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Yeah, this is more of like a thriller crime. So if you have a partner or a friend or family that are into those kinds of films, very accessible. It's on Netflix. Check it out. And let me know what you think, because yeah, it got me. Let me know if it got you. Talking about being gotten get, The Pledge. Do you guys ever have those moments in your life where you watch a film and then halfway through you're like, this is seeming a little bit familiar? We watched this film 3 times now, I think, and we forget that we've seen it every single time. Jack Nicholson. It's directed by Sean Penn. It's about a cop who is retiring and he gets put on one last case, or really he takes one last case because they're like literally shoving him out the door, but he really gets intrigued and he makes this promise to the family that is involved in this case to, you know, get justice. And then it's about his life, and it's kind of split into 2 halves where it follows him and then things kind of change and then the story afterwards. It's very interesting. I think it's an okay film. I'm not really down with the ending of what the ending actually means. It's when you look at it from that kind of, you know, like the forest from the trees, you kind of stand back, you wonder what the film is actually trying to say. But I'd be interested how many of you have seen this film over and over and over and keep forgetting, or is it just me? I watched I See You, a film I've seen before. I watched this with my partner because I know we watched a lot of like true crime. We went away for a weekend, and he had not seen this, and we were talking about like twisty films, and I'm like, you need to watch this movie because you'll never get it. And he kind of guessed some of it. But I See You stars Helen Hunt. It's on Netflix in my country, hopefully yours. And it is about a like mystery. It's like a murder mystery where a town has had boys go missing, and they're all kind of linked together. So the detectives think. And then from there, it just gets outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Highly recommend I See You. I think it's definitely worth your time. Love the structure. Love the unexpected moments. And for that alone, even if you don't like the whole subject matter, I think it's worth it. I do think it's worth it. I watched In the Shadow of the Moon. This is another one that's on Netflix. I think this is new to Netflix. And this is about, again, another crime thriller about a detective who gets obsessed with this case of this woman who passes away when he's kind of pursuing her. And I mean like pursuing as in criminal pursuing. And yeah, just becomes obsessed with this whole case and finding the answers to it. It's a very weird film. Very, very weird. I don't really feel like the explanation satisfies. There are, again, some good reveals in it. I'm not going to lie about that. But I didn't really feel or believe the main character and the motivations. It just didn't seem... It didn't work for me. He was so obsessed with this that everything in his life like falls apart in one way or another, and it just didn't work for me, that whole aspect. I promise I'm not ruining anything. There's so much more in this that I have not said. It's a pretty long movie as well, I think. Oh, it's an hour and 15 minutes. Is that long? Probably not. But yeah, probably not. Look, a lot of people are giving it, oh look, we got a 3.5. Max Power. Refreshing to watch a sci-fi. Oh god, he said sci-fi. See, I told ya. Didn't blow me away, but I enjoyed it. Okay, well, there you go. I think Max says it all. He enjoyed it. I watched the new Nightmare Alley. I went and saw this on my birthday at the cinema. I have not seen the original, but I'm really excited and interested to see it now. Nightmare Alley, Del Toro. Always got to see a Del Toro directed film in the cinema. This only just came out in Australia here, if you're wondering why we're seeing it so late. I know it's showing in black and white in some cinemas in America as well at the moment, but I really enjoyed the colorized version. Toni Collette, every time. Rooney Mara. So yeah, this one is a interesting tale. It's a journey where you follow this this mysterious man with a mysterious secret, you know, kind of as he goes into his next chapter of his life, and he goes into the circus and becomes part of that, like learning about what's going on there and learning tips and tricks and, you know, all of the behind the scenes of the sideshows, and he makes a career out of it. And it's about him and really who he is and where that takes him. It's a dark story. I wouldn't say it's very twisted, but it's very satisfying. So if you're looking for a good, satisfying watch, I thought it was beautiful to see all of it. I love, you know, circus and sideshows and all that kind of stuff. It gets very spiritual, so if you're into that kind of stuff, I would recommend it for sure. And I watched Satanic Panic and We Summon the Darkness. I watched both these films, which are rewatches, because we're doing a Does This Offend You? Hopefully by the time this video is up, it's probably just we're about to go live. We're going live on my channel. We're talking about Satanic Panic and We Summon the Darkness, 2 films that came out in 2019, and they're both films about the portrayal of Satanists in modern film, but they're also comedy horrors. So Satanic Panic, I would highly recommend. If you can get your time in and watch it right now before we go live. And I'll put the live link down below. Hopefully this video is up before that. I'm sorry if it isn't. So this one, directed by Chelsea Stardust, it is about a pizza delivery girl who is so sweet, called Sam, and she goes into this little neighborhood that is satanic. And they're, you know, having a ritual seance, and she kind of like, not a seance, what do you call it? It's just a ritual, I guess. And she kind of like stumbles in, and all of a sudden she needs to find a way out, you know, as you do. I think it's a good, solid film. I don't think it's anything too surprising. I think I rated both of these 7 the first time I watched it, but watching them back now, I think that they're solid, but I mean, there's not like a huge wow factor for me. I do prefer We Summon the Darkness, which is a little bit different. It's about a group of like heavy metal, is it heavy metal or just metal chicks? And they go to a concert and they get involved with a group of boys, and then they go together to a 3rd location where danger ensues. This one is a little bit more twisty, which I like, and I really like the girls in this, the cast. Very interesting, and yeah, I think it's like I think this one should be called Satanic Panic, to be honest, because it is about it's based in the 80s, set in the 80s, and it is about that time and that panic. So I think it's really interesting. If you're into any of that or that interests you, I do recommend probably watching this one over the other one, but they're both just fun comedy horrors. They're not really taking themselves too seriously. And that's everything I watched this month. It doesn't feel like a lot. Was it a lot? I think there's a lot of recapping because I did so many of the Scream movies. If you think about it, I watched, you know, 1 to 5, and then I watched 5 twice as well. So there's a lot of Scream this month. I'm very excited to see what comes next month. There's so many good horror movies actually coming out that I thought there wasn't going to be a lot to anticipate at the start of the year. Let me know if you do want an anticipation list. I think it's a little bit late for that, but you know, Jordan Peele's coming out. I'm so excited for the new Jordan Peele film. So, I mean, spoiler alert, if I do a video like that, that's definitely going to be in there. But of course, my what's coming out to VOD next month is going to be up next. So if you have not subscribed, I would love to have you here. I do 2 videos every single week talking about horrors and talking about thrillers and giving you a lot of recommendations. I can't wait to jump into all of the crazy fun content we have coming out this year. It's been a crazy ride so far. We've talked to the Scream directors, we've talked to Rory Culkin, and we've got into a lot of different deep dives. So there's going to be a lot coming next. You should see my list of ideas. I'm very excited, and thank you to all of your support. I really love reading all of your comments and interacting with you all online. If you don't know, I'm on Twitter, Astro Emma. I'm on Instagram, Spookyastronauts. I'm pretty much always on Instagram. So thank you so much for being here and being part of my journey. And I'll talk to you all. I'm so sappy today. What the heck? Okay, I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.